The email from Reyes Foundation landed in my inbox like a bomb with a 6-year delay. I stared at my laptop screen, coffee forgotten, as the carefully worded corporate request burned into my retinas. They needed my help. My family's company, the same one that had dismissed my research as fantasy, was desperate for my expertise. My name is Lexi, and I'm the invisible daughter who became a quantum AI researcher while my brother got the corner office. Holy shit, Maya said, peering over my shoulder at the email. They actually reached out? Apparently their neural interface division is imploding. I scrolled through the attachment, my hands shaking slightly. They need someone to audit their systems and fix whatever this mess is. The irony wasn't lost on me. 6 years ago, I sat at our mahogany dining table, trying to explain my PhD research to my parents. Dad kept checking his phone while Mom smiled that plastic smile she reserves for uncomfortable situations. "But what will you actually do with this degree?" Mom had asked, cutting into her perfectly arranged salmon. "Pierce's law practice is so established. I'm developing an AI system that can interface directly with human neural patterns," I'd explained for the 100th time. "It could revolutionize everything from medical diagnostics to—" "Sweetie," Dad interrupted, "maybe it's time to consider something more practical. The Foundation could use another legal mind, not more theoretical research." I clicked reply on the email, and a new memory surfaced. My graduation day. The auditorium was packed, but the 2 seats I'd reserved remained empty. Pierce had a crucial meeting. Mom and Dad were tied up with the quarter's board review. "Are you going to help them?" Maya asked, pulling me back to present. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Rocky's name flashed on the screen, my childhood friend who now worked as a senior engineer at Reyes Foundation. "Lex," he said, his voice tight. "Did they contact you?" "Just got the email. Rocky, what's really going on?" He hesitated. "It's bad. There's a patent lawsuit. Some startup claims we stole their neural interface technology. But Lex," he lowered his voice, "the tech they're fighting over? It looks exactly like your old thesis work." The room tilted slightly. "What?" "Guy Simpson, the COO? He had access to your early prototypes. The timeline matches. I've been digging through old files and—" "Rocky!" I cut him off, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "Send me everything you have." After hanging up, I pulled up the Foundation's stock price. It had dropped 40% in 2 weeks. Headlines screamed about data breaches and patent infringement. The mighty Reyes Foundation was bleeding out. Maya touched my arm. "What are you thinking?" I opened my laptop and began typing a response to the email. "I'm thinking it's time to go home." "Lexi," Maya's voice carried a warning, "don't do anything crazy." I hit send and turned to her with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "I'm just going to help my family, Maya. Isn't that what good daughters do? You're planning something. They stole my research. The same research they called worthless." I stood up, already mentally packing. They buried my work, took credit, and now they're facing consequences. And suddenly, they need me? "So, you're going back for revenge?" I walked to my office window, looking out at the city lights. On my desk sat a framed photo, me at graduation, alone but smiling, clutching my PhD diploma. Next to it was last month's Scientific American, with my latest paper featured on the cover. "No, Maya. I'm going back to teach them exactly how valuable their invisible daughter is." I turned back to her. "And I'm going to make sure they never forget the lesson." My phone buzzed again. A text from Pierce. "Dad says you're coming to help. Thanks, sis. We knew we could count on you." I looked at Maya, who knew me well enough to read the steel in my eyes. "They wanted a good daughter?" I said, picking up my phone. "I'll give them exactly what they asked for, and then some." "Just be careful," Maya said softly. "Revenge has a way of changing people." I nodded, already composing my response to Pierce. But inside, a plan was forming. Intricate, precise, and absolutely devastating. They thought they were calling in family help? They were really inviting in a tsunami. Book me on the next flight home, I told Maya, my voice calm and professional. It's time for Dr. Alexandra Reyes to save the family business. What I didn't say was that sometimes saving something means burning it to the ground first. The Reyes Foundation headquarters still gleamed like a fortress of glass and steel, but now I could see the cracks in its perfect facade. Security guards who once would have stopped me waved me through with desperate smiles. My heels clicked against marble floors as I made my way to the executive suite, each step echoing with purpose. Dr. Reyes, the receptionist practically jumped from her seat. They're waiting for you in the main conference room. I smiled, adjusting my blazer. Thank you, Angela. Still remember where it is. The conference room door opened before I could reach for it. Pierce stood there, designer suit perfectly pressed, but dark circles under his eyes betrayed his stress. Little sister. He wrapped me in a hug that felt more performative than warm. Thank God you're here. We've been drowning in technical jargon for weeks. Hello, Pierce. I extracted myself from his embrace. Where's everyone else? Board meeting just wrapped up. Mom and Dad are… Lexi! Mom's voice cut through the air like expensive perfume. She hurried toward me, Dad following at a more measured pace. Darling, you look… professional. I caught the slight pause, the quick assessment of my outfit. Same old mom, always calculating, always judging. Alexandra. Dad extended his hand. Not a hug. Never a hug. Thank you for coming on such short notice. Of course. I shook his hand firmly. Shall we discuss the situation? Pierce cleared his throat. Maybe we should wait for Guy. He's handling the technical side. No need, I interrupted, pulling out my laptop. I've reviewed the patent claim documents. You have bigger problems than just the lawsuit. The room temperature seemed to drop. Dad's expression hardened. Meaning? Your entire neural interface architecture is fundamentally flawed. The data breach wasn't just bad luck, it was inevitable given the system's structure. I connected my laptop to the projector. But you knew that already, didn't you, Pierce? My brother's face paled slightly. I don't follow the technical. The legal team's internal memos suggest otherwise. I pulled up a document. You've been trying to bury the security reports for months. How did you access those? Dad demanded. You gave me system access, remember? I'm here to help. I smiled sweetly. I'm being thorough. The conference room door opened again. Rocky stepped in, looking uncomfortable. Dr. Reyes, I have those system logs you requested. Perfect timing. I gestured for him to sit. Rocky's been helping me understand the evolution of your neural interface project. Mom's perfectly manicured hands clenched slightly. Surely we don't need to dive into ancient history. Actually, we do. I pulled up another document. Because your current interface architecture is remarkably similar to a prototype I developed 6 years ago, the one you all called Impractical Fantasy. Dead silence. Rocky shifted in his seat. Guy Simpson accessed my old files shortly after I left, I continued calmly. Interesting coincidence. Now wait just a minute, Pierce started, but Dad cut him off. What exactly are you implying, Alexandra? I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. I turned to face them fully. You stole my research, modified it poorly, and now you're facing the consequences. The question is, do you want my help fixing this mess, or should I walk away? Of course we want your help, Mom said quickly. We're family. Funny how family becomes important when you need something. I closed my laptop. I'll need full access to all systems, complete autonomy over the technical team, and a seat on the board. Absolutely not, Dad snapped. Then good luck with the lawsuit. I stood up, gathering my things. I'm sure Pierce can handle it. He's so established after all. Wait, Rocky spoke up, surprising everyone. Mr. Reyes, we need her. The system is collapsing. Without Dr. Reyes's expertise, we're looking at total failure within weeks. Pierce ran a hand through his hair. Dad, he's right. We don't have a choice. I watched my father's face as he processed his complete loss of control. Finally, he nodded stiffly. Fine. You'll have what you need. But this stays in the family. Of course, I smiled. Family first, right? As they filed out of the room, Rocky lingered behind. Once we were alone, he spoke in a low voice. Guy's going to fight this. He's been covering his tracks for years. I know. I pulled out my phone and played the recording I'd made of our entire conversation. That's exactly what I'm counting on. Rocky's eyes widened. You're not really here to help, are you? Oh, I'm going to help all right. I tucked the phone away. I'm going to help everyone understand exactly what happens when you steal from the wrong person. I walked out of the conference room, leaving Rocky with his guilt and my family with their illusion of control. Phase 1 was complete. Now, the real work could begin. The basement archives of Reyes Foundation smelled like secrets and old paper. I'd been down here for hours, digging through technical documentation that hadn't seen daylight in years. My phone buzzed, another worried text from Maya. Found anything incriminating yet? More than I expected, I typed back. They didn't even bother changing variable names in my code. The door creaked open and I quickly pocketed my phone. Guy Simpson's imposing figure filled the doorway. Burning the midnight oil, Dr. Reyes? His smile didn't reach his eyes. Quite the dedicated savior. Just doing my job, Guy. I gestured to the stack of papers. Fascinating reading material down here. He stepped closer, picking up one of the documents. Ancient history. We've evolved far beyond these primitive designs. Have you? I pulled up a terminal on my laptop. Because your current system architecture looks remarkably familiar. I split the screen, showing two code bases side by side. See these neural mapping functions? They're identical to my prototype. Even the comments are the same. Guy's facade cracked slightly. Many researchers arrive at similar solutions independently. Including my exact variable names? That's quite a coincidence. He set the paper down with controlled precision. Be careful, Alexandra. You're treading dangerous ground. Am I? Because from where I'm sitting, you're the one who should be worried. I turned my laptop to show him a directory of archived emails. You didn't think I'd find these, did you? The color drained from his face. Those files are restricted. Not to someone with board-approved system access. I smiled. Dad was quite insistent that I have full clearance to fix your mess. Listen. Guy lowered his voice, leaning in. We could work something out. The company's growing. There's room for arrangements. Like the arrangement where you stole my research and buried my career? Before he could respond, the door opened again. Zlata, one of the senior board members, stood there with an arched eyebrow. Am I interrupting something? Not at all, I said smoothly. Guy was just leaving. He straightened up, adjusting his tie. Think about what I said, Dr. Reyes. The threat in his voice was barely concealed. After he left, Zlata closed the door and sat across from me. Interesting choice, confronting him directly. Sometimes the direct approach is best. She studied me for a moment. You know, there's a growing faction on the board that's dissatisfied with current leadership. Is that so? We've been watching you. She leaned forward. Your solutions to the security breach were elegant, impressive. Some of us think the company needs new blood. I kept my face neutral. What exactly are you suggesting? A complete buyout offer. Your own division, full autonomy, and a clear path to CEO within 2 years. She slid a folder across the table. No more family drama. No more Guy Simpson. I opened the folder, scanning the numbers. They were substantial. Why me? Because you're brilliant, ruthless, and you understand the technology better than anyone. She stood up. Think about it, but don't take too long. Opportunities like this have a short shelf life. After she left, I called Maya. They offered me a buyout. I said when she answered. That's great, right? Isn't that what you wanted? I looked at my laptop screen, at the evidence of theft and betrayal laid bare. No, it's not enough. Lexi, Maya's voice softened. What is enough? They need to understand what they did. All of them. I started typing, installing a subtle backdoor in their system as I worked. The board meeting's tomorrow. Want to watch me make Guy Simpson sweat? You're enjoying this too much? Maybe. I finished the code implementation. But they're going to enjoy it a lot less. The next morning, the boardroom was packed. I stood at the front presenting my analysis of their technical infrastructure. Pierce sat near Dad, both looking increasingly uncomfortable as I demolished their security architecture point by point. And here, I highlighted a section of code, is where the neural interface becomes vulnerable to external manipulation. A flaw that existed in the original stolen prototype, which no one bothered to fix because no one actually understood the underlying principles. That's enough. Guy started to stand, but I cut him off. No, it's not. Because this flaw, it's not just a technical issue. It's evidence of systematic intellectual theft and corporate negligence. The room erupted in murmurs. Dad's face turned red, but before he could speak, I played my final card. I've prepared a complete technical analysis for each board member, including documentation of where this code originated. I met Guy's eyes, and exactly how it found its way into the company's systems. As folders were distributed, I watched the color drain from multiple faces. Slata caught my eye and gave a slight nod. The game was changing, and I held all the cards. The next move would be theirs. But I already knew they'd play exactly as I expected. After all, desperate people are so predictable. Walking through my childhood home felt like stepping into a museum of disappointments. Mom had redecorated my old bedroom into Pierce's private office, law books and golf trophies replacing my science fair medals and academic awards. Your father thought the space would be better utilized this way, Mom explained, hovering in the doorway as I examined the room. Pierce needs somewhere quiet to work when he brings files home. Of course he does. I ran my finger along the desk. Mahogany, expensive, exactly like Dad's. Smart girls don't need offices, right, Mom? We just need to be practical. She flinched. Lexi, that's not fair. We always supported your interests. My interests? I turned to face her. You mean my career? My doctorate? The research that's now saving your company? We're trying to make things right. She stepped closer, reaching for my hand. Your father wants to speak with you. He's in his study. Dad's study. The inner sanctum where all major family decisions were made. Where Pierce was groomed for leadership while I was told to be realistic about my ambitions. I found him behind his massive desk, looking older than I remembered. Alexandra, sit down. I prefer to stand. He sighed. You've made your point with the board. Very dramatic presentation. But it's time to be grateful for this opportunity and move forward as a family. Grateful? I laughed. For what? The chance to fix the mess you made with my stolen research? We gave you everything. He stood up, voice rising. The best schools, every advantage. You gave Pierce everything. I was just the backup plan that didn't pan out. That's not... My old bedroom is his office now. I cut him off. Pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? A knock at the door interrupted us. Pierce entered, looking uncomfortable. Sorry, but we have a situation. The technical team needs Lexi's authorization for some system changes. I'll handle it, I said, turning to leave. Alexandra. Dad's voice stopped me. Whatever you're planning, remember. This is still my company. I smiled. For now. In the hallway, Pierce grabbed my arm. What's that supposed to mean? Let go of me. Look, he lowered his voice. I know you're angry, but you're taking this too far. Guy Simpson is threatening to resign. Good. He should be in jail for intellectual property theft. Pierce's grip tightened. You don't understand. Guy's departure would trigger a clause in his contract. He'd take half our major clients with him. Interesting. I pulled free. Almost like someone planned it that way. Someone with legal expertise, perhaps? His face paled. What are you talking about? Who? I pulled out my phone and showed him an email I'd found in the archives. From Pierce to Guy, dated 6 years ago. She's leaving for that research position. Dad's distracted. Now's the time to implement our plan. Where did you get that? The same place I found the documentation showing you helped Guy bury the source of the stolen tech. I put my phone away. You were always good at covering tracks, Pierce, but I'm better at uncovering them. It wasn't personal, he whispered. It was business. The company needed. Save it. I started walking away. By the way, I just authorized a complete system overhaul, all new security protocols, my design. Hope that doesn't interfere with any of your arrangements. You can't do that without board approval. Actually, I can. Dad gave me full technical authority, remember? I turned back with a cold smile. Be careful what you wish for, big brother. Sometimes getting what you want comes with unexpected consequences. I found Rocky in the tech department, monitoring the system changes. How's it going? Everything's implementing smoothly. He glanced around before continuing quietly. But Lexi, I found something else. Pierce has been meeting with foreign investors. Looks like he was planning to sell the company before you arrived. Show me. He pulled up a series of encrypted emails. He was going to cut everyone out, even your parents. The deal was almost final when the patent lawsuit hit. I felt a cold satisfaction settle in my chest. Make copies of everything. And Rocky? Thank you for helping me. I owed you the truth. He hesitated. Just be careful. Pierce won't go down quietly. I'm counting on it. That evening, as I left the building, I saw Mom watching from her office window. For a moment, I remembered being small, desperate for her approval. But that little girl was gone, replaced by someone stronger. Someone who understood that sometimes the greatest act of love is destroying everything to build it back better. I pulled out my phone and dialed Maya. It's time for phase 2. Are you ready? Are you sure about this? They made their choices. I got into my car, starting the engine. Now they can live with the consequences. The restructuring began at dawn. I stood in the operations center, directing a team of engineers as we dismantled Guy's compromised systems piece by piece. Every change was meticulously documented, every flaw exposed. Dr. Reyes, a young engineer called out, we found another backdoor in the neural interface code. Document it and add it to the audit report, I instructed. Make sure to timestamp when it was implemented. My phone buzzed. Pierce calling again. I ignored it just like I'd ignored his last 6 calls. He could watch his carefully constructed house of cards collapse in real time like everyone else. You can't avoid me forever, his voice came from behind me. I turned to find him standing in the doorway, tie loosened, looking frantic. What are you doing to our systems? Fixing them. I gestured to the screens. Unless you'd prefer I let the regulators find these security holes themselves? The regulators? His face went white. What regulators? The ones I invited for a full compliance audit next week. I smiled sweetly. Standard procedure when dealing with potential intellectual property theft. You should know that, being our legal expert and all. You had no right? I had every right. The board approved my recommendation this morning. I handed him a tablet showing the voting results. Unanimous decision, actually. Seems nobody wants to risk prison time for covering up corporate espionage. Before he could respond, Guy burst into the room. Stop the system updates immediately. That's not happening, I said without looking up from my terminal. You don't understand. Guy's voice cracked with desperation. Those systems contain proprietary... Stolen data? I finished for him. Yes, I know. That's why I'm implementing the new architecture. Unless you'd like to explain to the board why we shouldn't? Guy grabbed my arm. Listen here, you little... Several engineers turned to watch as I calmly removed his hand. Touch me again, and I'll add workplace harassment to the ethics violation report. You're destroying everything we built, he shouted. No, I corrected him. I'm exposing what you stole. There's a difference. Pierce stepped between us. Both of you calm down. We need to discuss this privately. Nothing to discuss. I turned back to my work. The new systems go live in an hour. Better update your resumes. Guy stormed out, but Pierce lingered. Lexi, please. Think about what this will do to Dad. I am thinking about it. I'm thinking about how he chose you, chose Guy, chose everyone but me. And look where that got him. A commotion outside drew our attention. Through the glass walls, we could see reporters gathering in the lobby. Dad was attempting to give a statement, Mom hovering anxiously beside him. What's happening? Pierce demanded. I checked my watch. Right on schedule. The press release about our voluntary compliance audit just went public. Dad's trying to spin it as corporate transparency. We watched as cameras flashed. Dad was sweating, stumbling over his words. Suddenly, he stopped mid-sentence, his hand clutching his chest. Dad? Pierce rushed out. I followed, professional masks slipping for just a moment as our father collapsed. The next few minutes were chaos. Paramedics rushed in. Mom was crying. Pierce was shouting orders. I stood back, watching the scene unfold with a strange detachment. Mild heart attack, the doctor told us later at the hospital. Stress-induced. He needs rest. Minimal excitement. Mom turned on me in the hallway. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? I wanted the truth to come out, I replied. His reaction to it isn't my responsibility. He's your father. Is he? Because for the past decade, I've just been the disappointment he couldn't control. Pierce joined us, looking exhausted. The board's calling an emergency meeting. They want to discuss temporary leadership changes. Good. I checked my phone. Maya had sent the final documentation I needed. I'll see you there. You're leaving? Mom's voice rose. Your father is in the hospital. I paused at the elevator. Yes, and the company he built is in crisis. I'm doing what he taught us, putting business first. Isn't that what you always wanted? The doors closed on their stunned faces. In the elevator, I finally let my hands shake, just for a moment. This wasn't how I'd planned it, but plans rarely survive contact with reality. My phone buzzed, a text from Rocky. Guy's clearing out his office. He's making calls. Let him, I typed back. Everything's recorded. The pieces were falling into place, dominoes toppling one after another. Dad's collapse was unfortunate, but it wouldn't stop what was coming. After all, they'd taught me well. In business, there's no room for sentiment. The tech division hummed under my leadership, screens displaying metrics that improved by the hour. 3 days after Dad's hospitalization, I sat in his office, my office now, reviewing the latest system reports when Mom stormed in. Your father's being released tomorrow, she announced, as if it should change everything. He wants to come back to work immediately. That's not happening. I closed my laptop. The board's already voted. He's on medical leave for at least 6 weeks. This is killing him, Lexi. Our family name is already ruined, I cut in. Or did you miss the headlines about corporate theft and regulatory investigations? She sank into a chair, perfectly manicured hands trembling. Please, just stop this vendetta. Tell the board it was all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I pulled up an old email on my screen and turned it to face her. Like when Pierce and Guy coordinated to steal my research? Or when Dad approved burying the evidence? We were protecting the company. You were protecting Pierce. I stood up. And now you're facing the consequences. A knock at the door interrupted us. Zlata entered, looking sleek and dangerous in her designer suit. Am I interrupting? Not at all. I gestured for her to sit. Mom was just leaving. Actually, Zlata said, Mrs. Reyes should stay for this. It concerns the company's future direction. Mom straightened, instantly on alert. What direction? I've been talking with the board, I said. We're considering a complete rebranding. New name, new focus. a scientific innovation lab instead of a corporate dinosaur. LexiTech, Zlata added. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Mom's face went pale. You can't erase decades of history. Watch me. I pulled out a folder. The vote's scheduled for next week. We already have majority support. Pierce won't allow this. Pierce? I laughed. Pierce won't be here to object. Maya? Maya walked in, tablet in hand. Perfect timing. The foreign investment documents just arrived. What documents? Mom's voice sharpened. I turned my screen to show her the evidence. Pierce's secret plan to sell the company to overseas investors. He was going to cut everyone out, including you and Dad. The deal was almost final before I came back. Mom grabbed the screen, scanning the emails with growing horror. This can't be real. Oh, it's real. Maya pulled up more files. He's been planning it for months. The neural tech theft was just a convenient distraction. Your golden boy was going to sell your legacy to the highest bidder, I said softly. Some family loyalty, huh? Mom stood up shakily. I need to talk to your father. After she left, Zlata turned to me with an appraising look. Brutal, but effective. The board will eat this up. Speaking of the board, Maya interjected, Guy's trying to rally support. He's claiming whistleblower status. Let him try. I pulled up another document. I've got his signature on every theft authorization. He goes down, he's taking everyone with him. My phone buzzed. A text from Rocky. Pierce just cleared out his office, left through the back door. Coward, I muttered. Maya, release the documents to the press. All of them. Lexi, she hesitated. This will destroy them completely. Are you sure? They destroyed themselves. I turned to the window, watching the city lights flicker on as dusk fell. I'm just making it official. Zlata stood to leave. The board meets tomorrow at 9. Be ready for fireworks. After she left, Maya touched my arm. Your mom looked broken. She'll survive. They always do. And you? Will you survive this? I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled up the new company logo I'd been designing. LexiTech. Sleek, modern, everything the Reyes Foundation wasn't. The grant program for women in STEM goes live next month, I said instead. Full scholarships, research funding, mentorship opportunities. Everything I never had. Creating something good from all this destruction? Something better. I showed her the plans. No more old boys club. No more buried innovations. Just pure science, changing the world. My phone buzzed again, Pierce calling. I declined it and sent a text. Check tomorrow's papers. Consider it my resignation from the family business. Maya sighed. You know this isn't over. They'll fight back. Let them. I gathered my things, ready to head home. I've got truth, evidence, and the moral high ground. They've got nothing but empty offices and regret. As we left, I passed my old bedroom, Pierce's office until this morning. The door was open, the space empty, except for a single frame on the wall. My PhD diploma, the one they'd never come to see me receive. I took it down, tucking it under my arm. Tomorrow, it would hang in my new office at LexiTech. A reminder that sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's building something better from the ashes. The boardroom crackled with tension as I took my place at the head of the table. My presentation materials were ready, but I wouldn't need them. The morning papers had done most of the work for me. Copies lay scattered across the table, headlines screaming about corporate espionage and failed foreign takeover attempts. Dad sat in a wheelchair at the far end, Mom hovering beside him. He looked small, diminished, but his eyes burned with familiar anger. Pierce's seat remained conspicuously empty. Before we begin, Guy stood up. I'd like to address these allegations. Sit down, Guy, Zlata commanded. Dr. Reyes has the floor. I stood, smoothing my blazer. Thank you all for coming. Today isn't just about allegations. It's about transformation. Transformation? Dad's voice was weak but sharp. You mean destruction? Actually, I clicked a remote, bringing up the first slide. I mean salvation. Our stock has risen 15% since the new security protocols were implemented. Client confidence is returning. The patent lawsuit is being withdrawn. Murmurs rippled through the board members. But that's not why we're here. I moved to the next slide, the LexiTech logo. We're here to vote on the company's future. This is absurd, Mom interrupted. You can't just... Mrs. Reyes, Zlata cut in. Your family lost the right to unilateral decisions when the theft evidence went public. I continued, outlining the transition plan. With each point, I watched the old guards' faces crumble while the younger board members leaned forward with increasing interest. The new structure eliminates the traditional hierarchy, I explained. No more family dynasties, no more buried innovations. 30% of our profits will fund research grants for underrepresented scientists. You'll destroy everything we built. Dad tried to stand, but Mom held him back. You already did that, I replied calmly. When you stole my research, when you let Pierce plan his secret sale, when you chose pride over progress. The boardroom doors burst open. Pierce stormed in, looking disheveled. This is all lies. Really? I pulled up his emails on the screen. Should I read these aloud? The part where you plan to sell to foreign investors? Or maybe where you helped Guy steal my neural interface designs? You don't understand, he pleaded. The company was failing. I was trying to save yourself, I finished. The Golden Boy's final play. How'd that work out? Enough! Dad shouted, face reddening. I won't let you destroy my legacy. Your legacy? I laughed. Your legacy is theft, nepotism, and failure. My legacy? I gestured to the LexiTech presentation. Will be innovation, equality, and progress. I turned to the board. You have a choice. Continue with the old regime, the one that brought us to the brink of collapse, or vote for transformation, for a future where science matters more than surnames. This is blackmail, Guy sputtered. No, this is business. I placed 3 documents on the table. My terms are simple. Pierce resigns, admitting his role in the attempted sale. Guy steps down, acknowledging the theft. And Dad retires gracefully with his reputation partially intact. Or? Mom's voice trembled. Or I release everything, every email, every corrupt deal, every buried innovation. Your choice. Silence fell. Pierce slumped in his chair. Guy stared at his hands. Dad's face had gone ashen. I moved to vote, Zlata announced. The next few minutes were a blur of raised hands and counted votes. In the end, it wasn't even close. Motion carries, Zlata declared. LexiTech is approved, with Dr. Alexandra Reyes as CEO. I stood at the head of the table, victory tasting both sweet and bitter. Thank you for your service, I told my family. Security will escort you out. This was your plan all along, Dad said as they wheeled him toward the door. From the moment you came back. No, I corrected him. This was your plan. Every time you chose Pierce over me, every time you called my work worthless, every time you put pride before progress. I smiled. I just finally played by your rules. After they left, the remaining board members gathered around to congratulate me. But I was already focusing on tomorrow, on transforming this monument to corporate greed into something meaningful. Maya appeared at my side. You did it. We did it, I corrected her. Now the real work begins. Was it worth it? She asked softly. Burning every bridge? I looked around the boardroom. My boardroom now. Sometimes you have to burn bridges to build better ones. As the sun set over the city, I stood at the window watching workers replace the old company sign with the new LexiTech logo. Below, my family's car pulled away for the last time. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt ready to build something that would make all the pain worth it. The morning sun streamed through LexiTech's glass walls as I walked through the research floor. Young scientists huddled over workstations, their excitement palpable. My old neural interface project had evolved into something revolutionary under their fresh perspectives. Dr. Reyes! A bright-eyed intern rushed up, tablet in hand. The new neural mapping results just came in. We've achieved 98% accuracy. I smiled, remembering when these same discoveries were dismissed as fantasy. Excellent work, Sarah. Schedule a full team review for tomorrow. My phone buzzed. Maya calling. Turn on the news, she said without preamble. I ducked into my office and flicked on the wall screen. Pierce's face filled the frame, standing outside a courthouse. "And I deeply regret my actions," he was saying. "The attempted sale was wrong. I betrayed my family's trust." "His plea deal went through," Maya explained. "Guys is next week." I muted the TV. "And Dad?" Still refusing to comment. "But Mom?" Maya hesitated. "She's been trying to reach you." Before I could respond, Rocky appeared in my doorway. "Sorry to interrupt, but the STEM grant committee is ready for you." "I'll call you back," I told Maya. The conference room was filled with educators and scientists, all eager to review applications for our Women in Science initiative. As I took my seat, a familiar face caught my eye. My old PhD advisor, Dr. Harrison. "Quite a change from when they called your research worthless," she said after the meeting, as we walked through the labs. "Everything's different now," I agreed. "Including you." She stopped, fixing me with her penetrating gaze. "The question is, are you happy with who you've become?" Before I could answer, my assistant rushed up. "Dr. Reyes, your mother's in reception. She doesn't have an appointment, but..." "It's fine." I turned to Dr. Harrison. "Excuse me." I found Mom standing awkwardly in the lobby, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. She looked older, less polished than I remembered. "This place," she gestured around, "it's incredible." "What do you want, Mom?" "To apologize." Her voice cracked. "We were wrong. I was wrong. The way we treated you, your work." She pulled something from her bag, an old photo. "Remember this?" It was me at 12, proudly displaying my first science fair project. Mom stood beside me, actually smiling back then, before Pierce's law school acceptance became the family's defining moment. "I've been going through old photos," she continued, "remembering who we were before everything went wrong. Mom, please, let me finish." She straightened her shoulders. "Your father won't admit it, but watching you succeed, watching you build something meaningful from our mistakes, it's made him think, made us all think." "It's a bit late for that." "I know." She placed the photo on a nearby table. "But I'm proud of you, Lexi. Not despite who you've become, but because of it." My throat tightened. "I can't just forget. I'm not asking you to." She stepped back. "I'm just asking you to remember that little girl who loved science. Don't let our failures change her completely." After she left, I stood in my office, staring at the city below. The photo sat on my desk, that long-ago smile challenging my carefully constructed walls. My phone buzzed, a text from Maya. "Dinner tonight? You need a break." "Can't," I replied, reviewing grant applications. "Lexi," she wrote back, "revenge is done. Don't let it become who you are." I picked up the photo again. Mom was right. I had changed. The question was, had I changed too much? A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. Sarah, the intern, stood there with several other young researchers. "Dr. Reyes, we wanted to show you something." They led me to their lab where a holographic display showed neural patterns dancing in complex patterns. "We modified your original interface design," Sarah explained excitedly. "Look what happens when we..." As they walked me through their innovations, their passion infectious, I felt something shift inside me. This was what I'd really wanted all along. Not just revenge, but revolution. Not just proving my worth, but creating something worthy. I pulled out my phone and texted Maya, "Dinner sounds good. Bring wine." Then I turned back to the eager young scientists. "Show me more." The setting sun painted the lab in gold, and somewhere in the glass reflection, I saw that 12-year-old girl smile. She wasn't gone after all. She'd just grown up, grown stronger, and finally built the future she'd always dreamed of. Not because of revenge, but in spite of it.